Hello learners, we are moving to the second last class of module 6, week 6 related with our marketing course entitled The Art and Science of Marketing from Basics to Breakthrough. So week 6 we are devoting the entire energy to understand the brand positioning and the equity proposition which brand offers to us. So this lecture 4 of week 6 is devoted entirely to understand the different brand equity models and the brand value chain concept. I, Dr. Asutosh Mohan, Associate Professor at Institute of Management Studies, Banaras Hindu University, would like to welcome you again in the interesting journey of marketing and understanding the power of brand. So, what are going to be our learning objectives? First, we try to explain the different brand equity models, whether it's Keller's brand equity model, brands, or the Akers brand equity model. We try to understand the different equity models. We try to understand the brand value chain and its evaluation, role in evaluating the performance. And finally, we will take certain successful brand example to understand how beautifully these models explain the concept which organization try to implement at the marketplace. Let's take the small story as usual in our marketing class with real examples. Now suppose this is an example of headphone dilemma. A student is opting, leave the student, because I keep on taking the example of a student because I consider every learner is a kind of a student. Even I as a faculty is also a student, keep on learning the new things with the interaction of my students. So an individual, a student is opting for a Bose headphone rather than any headphone with similar kind of features and attribute. Why? Why the person is opting for Bose headphone? Because certain emotional connections, certain kind of social approval and a trust the Bose brand is having in terms of its audio quality, in terms of the clarity, in terms of the specification, or rather to say the assurance related with the sound quality. So brand value learning, the brand value is built in the consumer mind, not in just features. So many other brand may say our features or our product attribute is similar to the attribute of Bose, may be better than Bose, but until unless you create an impression, until unless you create a distinctive image in the mind of consumer, possibly you cannot leverage that kind of benefit. So what is brand resonance? That is one of the very famous model related with understanding the brand equity. So brand resonance, by name if you try to understand resonance, resonance something which is continuously occupying your mind, something which keeps on echoing in your mind. That's what resonance is. So if I talk about brand resonance model or brand resonance altogether, it means your mind is occupied, you are somehow so much engrossed with certain brand that you are not able to see anything else. So intensity of the customer psychological connection with brand, how intense that connection is. If intensity is at somehow at the highest level, it lead towards a situation where the resonance will always be a phenomena to watch for. This is a real situation. This is a real things happening in our day-to-day life. So certain brands are having a power to resonate our mind. So focus on loyalty, attachment, community, active engagement. This is what we are thinking, this is what we are witnessing. Just think about the community, the bike Harley Davidson is having, and the attachment, the affinity the owners of those iconic bikes are having with them. They keep on communicating consistently, creating a community feeling, and if you keep on providing these kind of inputs of association, strengthening those association, you reach on a point where your mind becomes so much occupied with the brand altogether. So very famous or very basic model of brand, that is Keller's brand resonance model, and it is having 4 specific components: salience, that is brand awareness; performance and imagery, that is product quality and association; judgment and feeling, that is consumer evaluation; and resonance ultimately in terms of loyalty, advocacy, and the depth of relationship. And it is represented in a triangular form where there are certain questions attached with each and every component, divided the triangle into 4 components. So base is brand identity. Who are you? What identity brand is having? This is the base. On this base, the next question which organization need to answer: what are you? What are you means what is the meaning of your brand? What is the performance and imagery you are creating in the minds of customer? Now based on this second hierarchy, we are moving to the third step, that is brand response, and the question related with this stage: what about you? What about you means here the consumer or customer is judging how different you are from the other. What kind of feeling is going to be associated with your brand? That's what the third component talks. What about you? And the top of this triangle is what about you and me? How you and me means how consumer is associated with organization. Whether this association, as we witnessed in the loyalty case, whether this association is in terms of a partnership, in terms of an advocacy, the ultimate form of association of any customer with any organization. So what kind of association this organization is enjoying with the customer? Loyalty association, partnership association, or ultimately a kind of advocacy association, and that is what the brand resonance talks about. Let's take the example which I simply discussed in our last slide. Harley Davidson, very famous iconic kind of brand. What is the salience? What is the identity of this brand, of this bike? It's a very recognizable brand related with bike owners. Everyone is able to know, or everyone is familiar with this iconic brand if having any interest in biking. So brand salience is present. Next one is imagery, freedom, masculinity. That is kind of a that is a kind of an image where you are simply riding your bike and so much engrossed with your biking experience, you have freedom from all other kind of thoughts, and you are feeling so much of power, masculine power while riding on the bike, that creates an imagery in your mind. So you simply have an impression if anyone is riding this Harley bike, must be strong, must be good, must be very fun loving kind of person, must be free of all preconceived notion. This is what imagery this brand creates in the mind. What about the feelings? Feelings, belongingness, the pride, and that's why this brand created a new concept of marketing which is going to be very much talked about, very much practiced on, that is community marketing. Community marketing means the proud owners of this bike form a community, and different activities induced by the organization to make this community more cohesive community, to develop a kind of belongingness, to develop a kind of pride. So if suppose 20 owners of this bike in one small city moving all together and creating an impression to all persons or the different individual who are seeing this biking group of 20 and enjoying their ride. So they created a kind of feeling. And this feeling of pride, the feeling of belongingness resonates where they developed a community and developed a lifelong loyalty. So if you own this bike, you immediately have a notion, immediately have a attachment, immediately have a kind of partnership that I will drive this bike, no other bike is soothing the requirement of mine. This is what loyalty, this is what advocacy, this is what partnerships we are talking about, and this is what resonance we need to understand. And this is possible if you build this kind of belongingness feeling, this kind of pride feeling associated with the uses of brand. Next model, relatively similar, or not to say similar, but somehow all models of brand equity talks about a similar kind of salient features related with all different brand equity models or related with the brand and the consumers. So what is first one in the Akers model? The proprietor assets. Proprietor assets mean the number of patents, the intellectual property rights, the trademarks. It means how good you are to protect your brand identity. So this model talks one step ahead, where we are not talking about, or we are not starting with creation of brand awareness. We are starting with the certain unique value proposition which company is providing with a brand, and company is capable to protect that uniqueness with certain rules, certain laws, trademarks, the patents, and that distinction will prevail over a period of time. So this is one addition. Then we are having the brand awareness, usual self, where you need to make it possible so people are recognizing, people are able to recognize your brand. Then it leads towards the perceived quality, the image you are creating with your product, the image related with you, the quality of product in the eyes of customer. Then it leads towards the brand association. It means how much value, the hedonic value you are having with your brand, how much affinity you are feeling with certain brand, that is what brand association. And finally, it is leading towards the loyalty, where you are reflecting how much committed you are for any particular brand. So next four stages are relatively similar to the resonance model, except one difference, where Acker talked about the protection of uniqueness related with the brand offer. How well organizations are prepared to protect that uniqueness, that is one of the crucial addition to the existing models of brand equity. Another model, that is brand asset valuator, BAV model. Now, BAV model is divided into two components. One is brand vitality and the other is brand stature. Now, brand vitality means the differentiation which you can offer with your brand, the relevance which you can identify why customer need to purchase your brand only, why they cannot purchase any other brand. That is what relevance you are establishing. That is what differentiation you are creating in the mind of customer, and that create the brand vitality. Now, based on this vitality, you try to create a stature for your brand, a position of your brand, that is in terms of esteem, that is in terms of the knowledge, that is in terms of creating a pride with an intelligent appeal to suit the value proposition. So, value not only in terms of utility, value in terms of hedonic propositions. And if you are able to create this brand vitality with brand stature, then definitely you will have a proposition where you can claim, I as an organization, as an owner of a brand, holds brand equity at the marketplace and my brand is having value at the marketplace. Another model that talks about or that is entitled as a brands model. Now, this model is again, if you see, looks like in a similar pattern to the first model, the resonance model or the second model, Akers model. But the only difference where we are talking in terms of presence is similar, it means awareness, relevance is utility which you are offering, the performance, the quality dimensions which you are assuring, the offers which you are assuring in terms of consistency, in terms of quality, an advantage which you are enjoying in terms of loyalty, in terms of patronage. So, this remains the same. But here in the brands model, if you just see, there are two terms, weak share of wallet and a strong share of wallet. What it represent? It represent you start with less aspiration, less presence, or better to say, you are not looking for capturing the premium price benefit or brand equity benefits in the beginning of your brand journey. But as you move forward from creating awareness to building loyalty, there are chances that company will share a larger share of your wallet, larger share of customer wallet. What does it mean? It means company will start earning more and more profit through a brand loyal customer and claim to have equity with the brand, the value the brand is representing at marketplace. So, you may not perceive, you may not try to leverage a big wallet or big share of wallet in the initial phase, but over a period of time with your efforts and with an ability to convince or remain attached with consistency, remain attached with the consistency of quality and delivery, you may have a proposition over a period of time where share of wallet is bound to increase, and that's what the brands model talks about. Next thing, very crucial thing, what we mean by brand value chain. Value chain, here every time we talked about the utilitarian hedonic value, but when we talk about the chain, the value chain, it means something moving in a linear direction. So, our marketing program investment is influencing the customer mindset And this mindset is creating a kind of market performance which we are witnessing at marketplace. And finally, this reflects our market performance will reflect in our shareholder value. It means it reflects, it monetized into an asset in the balance sheet of the organization. An organization will create a value for different stakeholders. That's what brand value chain is. So, brand value chain component, when we talk about the marketing activities, it all relate with the different strategies, the different tools and techniques through which we target, we communicate, we position our offers at the marketplace. So, it may be advertising, it may be the different marketing mix element strategies which we are actually implementing at the marketplace. This is what marketing activities are. Then we are moving toward the customer mindset, where we are thinking in terms of creating awareness, association, building positive attitude, and having certain kind of attachment, emotional attachment if possible. Market performance will reflect in terms of sales, the market share, the retention, the customer churn rate. All those indicators will reflect how good you are in your activities to remain a power at the marketplace. And this market performance will reflect in financial impact in terms of brand equity. The stock price might have an influence of your brand market performance. Whenever you are going for any kind of mergers, acquisitions, sell off, this will be an asset where you can get the premiums only for the brand as an asset you created in terms of brand equity. Let us take the example of Tanishq, a very famous jewelry brand of Tata Group. So, marketing, they are doing the emotional ads, the festive collection, they keep on offering the different kind of festive collections, emotional ads they are creating, and they keep on communicating with certain creative kind of advertisement appeal. So, what is the mindset? The mindset is basically trust. That is what Tata Group used to enjoy. So, trust, Tata Tanishq, Indian heritage, they are reflecting in their offerings. The aspirational appeal which they are highlighting in their different emotional advertisement appeals, different advertisement campaigns. So, they are creating a kind of aspiration. If I wear this Tanishq, I will look like or I will act like this personality, or I will feel a kind of empowerment, or I will feel a kind of aspirational value attachment with Tanishq jewelry. So, market, it is one of the number one position in the organized jewelry retailers, organized jewelry brands, and in urban India holds the same position. Don't you think the financial implication of holding the number one position will reflect in terms of premium pricing which you are charging in comparison to local jewelers, where your making charges might be very high, or overall product quality assurance is leading toward a situation where people are ready to pay certain premium prices. The strong brand valuation, your market value, market capitalization, and every other financial performance parameter will have influence and impact of this brand equity which you are enjoying. And this is what the real world example of Tanishq, which is using the brand resonance model for perfect explanation what is the utility of brand equity. So, in summary, deep brand connections drive loyalty and value. No need to explain further, I hope. Resonance model means building emotional bond. That's what we understood with different other models also. Value chain means measuring impact on business outcome. That's what we need to understand. It's not only in terms of the premium price we are getting. It's not only measuring the brand equity in terms of loyalty, the partnership or advocacy. It specifically, categorically reflects in terms of the financial advantage, the financial leverage the company can have with this brand power, and that's what the value chain concept talks about. So, if you want to learn more, as usual, I am leaving with you certain kind of experience or your own experience recall. Just try to analyze, why are some customer willing to tattoo a brand logo on their body? It's a trend, it's a thing. Maybe they are simply tattooing it to display a kind of commitment, the kind of affinity they are having. But why? Why they are making this kind of effort? Just think about it. Any one of you have any brand tattoo on your body and you want to display it? If you want to display, there must be certain kind of pride in your mind, a certain kind of association. Then only you can go for this kind of behavior to show your association with a brand. Just think and reflect yourself. The power of brand, to analyze the power of brand. If you have further interest, read the book Keller, The Strategic Brand Management. Chapter 3 and 9 talks about the brand equity models and its power. Thank you. Thank you for remain attached with the learning journey of marketing and categorically with understanding of brand equity models and the value chain. Thank you again.